What is going on, everybody? Denon here, and I want to try to get this done a little bit earlier today. Uh, so we're going to go through a distribution update, and the first place I want to start is My Little Pony TCG. For those of you who don't know what this is from a new company called Kaio. There's really not a whole heck of a lot of information on here. The first print of Wave 1 has started hitting North America here. I think most importantly, Kaio is planning on a large marketing push in May and June. So if you haven't gotten it, it's sold out, so you're screwed. But there is a reprint that is up for, I think, open order until the end of next week. So for those of you who want to laugh, have at it. I'm just telling you, it's going to be a thing. So moving on, Dragon Ball. Starter decks were due Friday for Fusion World. Also, we did just get FB11. I think I mentioned it last week or the week before. Those orders are done. But FB09, oh my God. Unlimited power, something like that. The boxes are going nuts. It's worth buying. It's been under ordered. And with the new anime, it's great. So let's see. Okay, Final Fantasy, moving on. So orders are closed for the August set. I do want to mention that Dreamlike Oceans that came out, the price of these boxes is holding up really well. And on TCG Player, it's still selling like 20 to 30 boxes a day, which is really, really surprising. And I think most importantly, the previous box, Journey of Discovery, which was selling around distro price, has now moved up to the mid 50s. Gunslinger and the Abyss is almost at $75, which is a set before this. So this just goes to kind of emphasize what I started mentioning 6 months ago. Even though there's not a massive amount of liquidity in this game, they do age well over time because it's under ordered. It is brick and mortar exclusive, I believe. And the cards are just really, really cool and really, really badass. I really wish that Square Enix would spend a little bit more time promoting the game. I think it would go a long way. But, kind of is what it is. All right, moving to Flesh and Blood. This is my weekly bitch session. Omens of the Third Age is out. It looks like the overall orders across distribution are down again, meaning that everybody got kind of kicked in the nuts with Super Slam, and then Compendium came out and was not good at all. The EV of the cards is like 40 or 50 bucks, maybe 60 if you're lucky. There are some good legendaries, but when you get one per case, that $100 hit that you might sell doesn't help you. And then the antiquity packs don't sell at all. And unless you open them and get lucky and find somebody who wants to pay $1,200 for a card, it's a shit show. So again, the orders for this are down probably 15% from the last, from Compendium. So the game continues to just be a melting ice cube when it comes to people buying sealed product from distribution. Now, I'm sure that the organized play piece is alive and well, but we run into our catch-22, where if stores aren't going to buy and open the product for singles, then the players are going to have to pay up for singles, and they're going to bitch and moan, and then LSS is fucked. They are in a no-win situation where unless they figure out a way to keep value in boxes, the game is going to die because nobody's going to buy the shitty boxes and take a haircut. And the players sure as hell aren't, because they're cheap people, generally speaking. They are game piece army. So that being said, it'll be interesting over the next two sets. If this game is still something by the end of the year, and again, this in my opinion is a black swan event, because for the longest time, it was passable, where you could make a little bit of money off breaking boxes, but it's gotten to the point where unless this set is something big, everybody's going to give it up, because you can't lose money on this. You're losing money just before you even consider overhead, opportunity cost, everything else. It's been a flaming bag of shit for two sets in a row. Really, three sets. The set before Super Slam was okay, wasn't great. But they're in trouble. They're in a lot of trouble here. And they need to get their shit together, or quite honestly, the game's just not going to exist by the end of the year in North America outside of small pockets. And in that case, distribution is going to stop carrying it because they're going to be stuck with a lot of product they can't sell. So like I said, it seems like orders are already 20% less than what they're expecting. So that is not a rounding error. So moving on, I will not talk about Godzilla just because nobody really cares. I was actually very, very happy to hear that Kaio's marketing plan is not the same as Toho, which is to do absolutely nothing with the game. So again, I think My Little Pony is a nice little niche game where there aren't a whole lot of female-oriented games, and you guys can make jokes about bronies, whatever you want. But the fact of the matter is most of these games are targeted toward the male part of the market. My Little Pony is a little bit to the other end, which is something that doesn't exist now. It may not exist because that market's not big enough to support a game, but we'll see. It's going to be fun either way. Gundam Card Game. If you guys haven't seen the spoilers for GDO4, the cards are absolutely fucking beautiful. They have, what are they calling them? Paintball foils or something. Like the colors and the card quality is absolutely phenomenal. And, I'm not going to share it here, but when you go and look, it seems like Bandai's taken Gundam to the next level from an art, a chase, a card perspective. I mean, these cards are a million times more beautiful than One Piece. I mean, One Piece is like Metazoo compared to what GDO4 is. So just take a look at the cards. They're absolutely fucking phenomenal. And I think the opening experience on Gundam is really, really awesome. It really is. So I would keep an eye out because in Q1, and it's a marketing pack from a Japanese company, and they try to aggregate total sales by TCG for Japanese games and for American games. And Gundam showed up on the list of the top 5 or 6 for the first time, I think, ever in the US market in Q1. Now, granted, they did have the release for GDO3, which Steel Requiem sold extremely well, and it still continues to. But I would keep an eye on Gundam. Booster box is selling at sub $100. This is going to go off. And it's probably going to go off around the time of GDO5 and EBO1, which is the anniversary set. And, don't sleep on Gundam. I know there's a lot of talking heads on YouTube that shit on it. Most of it's because you can't get it. Like, Rudy can't get pallets of this stuff, which is why he talks shit on it. Like, the dude talks his game, and good for him. He's built a nice business, but he can't get Gundam, at least to the scale that he wants to. The same with One Piece, so that's why he talks shit on it. It just is what it is. And quite honestly, One Piece is a lot easier to get than Gundam because back in the day when it didn't sell, you could have an online shop. You could buy it because nobody wanted it. So you could build your spend and your allocation that way, which is not a thing for Gundam. So moving on. HoloLive, by the way, I just want to correct myself. It was Q4 of last year. It was a little bit below One Piece in Japan. Q1 of this year, it's actually outsold One Piece in Japan by a small amount. So the HoloLive card game in Japan, it is absolutely nuts. Now, those of us in the US don't really know what it is IP-wise because it's not really prevalent over here, but it continues to do well. Lorcana, I'm going to touch on this one for you guys because I had a couple people in Discord. I don't want to make light of it, but they did go to me about it a little bit. So Wilds Unknown showed up as sold out on Amazon today. So everybody is assuming the game sold out and this and that, and everything's going to pop off. And to be fair, Lorcana has made some changes since Fabled, where the value of the boxes has started to turn around, which is great for them. And again, my business is successful if these games are successful. If all the games fail, I don't have a business. So, let's not confuse the fact that I'm rooting for all these guys here. But the fact of the matter is anybody at any point in time can flip on the out of stock switch. You can create the perception of short printing. In fact, it's something that Wizards of the Coast does very well, or they do quite often, but they don't really do very well. It's something that happens quite a bit. Like, look at Sorcery with Gothic. Right now, the entire world thinks that it was short printed. It wasn't short printed. They're just holding product back and not moving more to the US. Now they're sending it to Rudy. They're sending it to Team Covenant. They're sending it to Star City Games, but they're not sending it through distribution. So the price of the boxes are going up because everybody thinks it's short printed. I assure you it's not, and they're sitting on tens of thousands of boxes of it that are going to hit the US market at some point in time. But that doesn't matter. Reality doesn't matter. The only thing that matters in the TCG space is the perception of how much supply is out there. This is where the cyberpunk guys have already fucked up and shit the bed, because I told them in person, you need to create the perception that there's a shortage of product, and then you will succeed. At least you buy yourself enough time to build a player base. And the first thing these dumb motherfuckers did was they went out and raised over $20 million in Kickstarter. And there's videos all over the place, not even by me, because it's a waste of time, where, you know, they're estimating like 160,000 Kickstarter boxes, which the game's dead on arrival because they couldn't help themselves. They put their hand in the cookie jar and they said, you know what, I'm gonna be fucking Cookie Monster and keep eating the cookies. So you can't help greed. You can't help incompetence. Unfortunately, Cyberpunk is DOA because they didn't cut off the fundraise because they're greedy. And it is what it is. So, you know, wish those guys the best, but that was really fucking stupid, and it was a self-inflicted wound. Again, because of greed. One Piece, haven't seen much here. OP15 is selling well. Have not seen any allocations for OP16. I think it's June set, so we're still a little bit away. Have not seen any orders taken for OP18. It does look like there's an EB04 set, and I'm going off memory here, that just popped up on GTS and Alliance this past week, late this week. So I'd keep an eye out on that. I think it's EB04, EB05, because EB04 may have been split between OP14 and OP15. It's fucking confusing with the numbering schedule. But it looks like there is another specialty set, because I'm almost positive I placed that order Thursday or Friday with Universal. So just keep an eye out for that, because these order windows are super, super tight. And then obviously just keep an eye out for the pre-release stuff on Bandai Plus, because it's here today, gone tomorrow. It's nuts how quickly it cycles. Riftbound League of Legends Unleashed, looks like the allocations are out across the board. For the most part, I think there's one distributor. No, I take that back. Everybody has allocated. One was late last week. It does look like these Unleashed vaults, these are super, super short printed. So we're sitting at around 400 to 500 boxes across all distributors. And I don't think we got 15 vaults in total. Everybody else I've spoken to looks like they're anywhere between 12 to 1 to 30 to 1, depending on where they have organized play at. Even the Asmodee guys, the folks that have shifted their organized play to Asmodee, because nobody uses Asmodee. The only product you get worth of shit is League of Legends, because nobody cares about Star Wars at this point. You know, those guys are getting 300-400 boxes and you know, maybe 8 to 10 vaults. So I just keep an eye out, because those things are going to be super, super rare, which means probably super, super sought after. You know, I kind of liken it to the Dragon Lord product with Sorcery, where you can't get it, so don't sell it. You know, get it in, sit on it, whatever. Unleashed, we ran our pre-sale on Unleashed this weekend, just because I had some Wave 2 Pokemon stuff that hadn't quite come in yet, and I had an open slot. It sold okay. It didn't sell nearly as quickly as Spirit Forged and Origins. But again, it's the third set, so you kind of expect that. It seems like supply is about the same as Spirit Forged. Now, it could be higher because there's obviously more stores carrying it. But as long as the box price sits around 140, 150 bucks, I think it's fine. Oh, I do want to mention that the Origins reprint has started to land in the US. I know initially it was scheduled for March. At Gamma, they mentioned specifically June, but I will tell you that it has started to land in distributors' warehouses. Now, the good news is it doesn't look like it's large at all. It looks like it's maybe a couple thousand boxes, maybe between 1,000 and 2,000 boxes per distributor per warehouse, which is relatively small. You know, call it 10 to 15% of the original print run, maybe a little bit more. So it's probably just the right amount of product that's going to go out there. You know, should not crash the market. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if we see sub 200 bucks on that. But just so you guys know, that opportunity is coming. Moving on, there's really not a whole heck of a lot else. Weiss, I don't think there's anything to talk about here. Union Arena, we talked about the Nikki stuff. That's really the only one that's interesting. Yeah. Starting Life in Another World, Volume 3. This is coming out for Weiss. It's also coming out for Union Arena. It looks like these two are just kind of piggybacking on the IP. In fact, there's been a couple times where the card art is very, very similar, where they're just stealing it from each other, or it's obviously owned by the IP themselves. So that's interesting. Moving to Magic. So pre-release weekend's over for Strixhaven. It is the best-selling set of all time. In universe set, quite honestly, it looks like it's not going to pass Final Fantasy, but it's absolutely annihilated Spider-Man. It's annihilated Avatar. People want the product. People like the product. It's super, super interesting. It's going to hold value. The play booster boxes are up at $150. Everybody's sold out of everything. So it is nice to see what's going on, because when Wizards makes good sets, people buy good sets. When Wizards just throws a bunch of shit out there and assumes that the IP is going to sell it, it's a flaming disaster. That's why Marvel, in my opinion, is going to be a banger, because they can't fuck it up 2 sets in a row. I know a couple people have said that the set's been developed in whatever forever, but Strixhaven play boxes were printed in March. So they've had plenty of time to adjust and tweak print sheets and cards and inserts for Marvel since the Spider-Man disaster. So that's not even a concern at this point. In fact, they obviously did it for Turtles as well, because they cut the print run rate way back, / printed the same, and it's sitting in a warehouse somewhere. So anyway, that's what's going on there. It looks like we're going to get the second part, like the remaining 25% of the Commander decks are going to come this coming week. Bundles aren't going to come until the week after pre-release at the earliest. I'm guessing we're going to get regular bundles and Codex bundles at the same time at this point. And it's kind of going to be what it's going to be. I think what's interesting here is they still have the same release date on Southern's website. But yeah, they're not coming anytime soon. So that being said, the Marvel deadline is already this week, and I'm expecting to see Hobbit. The set that scares the shit out of me, again, they're not going to fuck Marvel up a second time, because they can't. So I think it's going to be a banger. The set that concerns me the most is a Hobbit, because they can absolutely half-ass that set, spend 0 time on it, throw a flaming bag of shit out there, and put a Lord of the Rings picture, and it's going to sell, and it's going to sell like crazy. So that concerns me a little bit. But I do like to see, as a retailer, the fact that the cost and the value and the perception of Strixhaven has gone up, which means it's going to be elevated for Marvel superheroes, most likely only to get everybody gets their face ripped off for the Hobbit if they half-ass it like I am expecting. So, and by the way, I did call the Spider-Man half-ass last year in March. There is a video. If you want to go back and just search on Spider-Man, it's interesting, because I wasn't right on everything, but I was directionally correct. So moving on, last one, Pokemon here. Oh, the other thing with Marvel, or with Magic, I did do a video last week just talking about some of the reprints coming to Latin American distributors, which they do get the product from the US. So keep an eye out for Ixalan set, Wilds of Eldraine set, and Phyrexia All Will Be One set coming in Q2 potentially. It does look like Lord of the Rings is going to be Q3, and Final Fantasy is not on the list. So again, what I'm being told is Q4. Rudy keeps saying Q2. Now we moved to August. I'm thinking Q4 is going to make the most sense. So that's when they need to hit the revenue. So moving on, Perfect Order. Looks like wave 2 of everything has come out except for the booster boxes. They'll come out when they come out. The sell-through on the sets, it's fine. It's gone from big box stores, so it's going to sell. It's going to move up. It's going to do the same thing that all these have done. Mega Evolutions, we have the EX boxes and the booster bundles coming out this Friday. And at that point, Ascended Heroes at the end of the month is going to rotate over to start printing 30th anniversary. And we're not going to get any more Ascended Heroes printed for a while. So we're probably going to get some black and white. A little birdie tells me. But I don't know what the form of that's going to be yet. So Chaos Rising. So I did a video on this last night, if you guys didn't see it. So Chaos Rising, it looks like Latin American distributors are getting their English allocation cut by 50%, because that product is pushing into the United States, which is Good for those of us in the US, bad for those of us who have been importing from Latin America. And it looks like this is just a concerted effort to increase the supply of product in the US. This set's going to be fine. I think the Greninja is going to be, $400 or $500 card. The gold's going to be $250 to $350, and people are going to want it. Again, it's waived, so kind of the same thing. Other than that, we have the mini tins coming out, the Mega Lucario EX battle deck. By the way, the Mewtwo battle deck, the Team Rocket's Mewtwo battle deck that everybody will shit on, is just about back to $20. So it's moving, it's selling through. It's actually selling like 100 copies a month, which is crazy to me. So that's moving. And then we have this first partner illustration collection series 2. From what I can tell, the print run of this is approximately the same as what it was for the illustration collection series 1. So not a whole lot to see there. Pitch Black looks like they're probably not going to solicit that until May, even though we know it's coming out. And then I also did a video on all the 30th anniversary SKUs. Now there's a bunch of fucking dumb as rocks YouTubers that come out and look at prices, and they're like, well, that doesn't quite look right. Well, when it's a foreign currency translation, it's not quite right. So those are just round numbers. And quite honestly, somebody took my video and just threw some bullshit numbers in there anyway. So I love the Pokemon community because everybody steals everything because it's all a bunch of grifters. So anyway, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and have a great Sunday.